Hello, welcome to another video on the channel. It's GHOSTDRIFTX, aka Ghost. I was able to get into the game. They got new stuff coming out quick, so I'm trying to get this out. I don't want you to end up here because I didn't know how I got here, and then I kind of figured it out. So I'm gonna let you see how I figured it out. Hopefully this will help you keep from this happening to you. And of course, you know how it is. There's certain stuff in the game, it's just gonna happen. But I was actually hot. I'll just be totally honest. I was hot. I was like, okay, what happened? Right? What happened? When I first started, I lost pretty much everything. So I used disposal mission just to kind of get back on my feet. So I did this one, but as you can see, apparently it was under the actual landing pad, so that wasn't gonna work. So pretty much what happens after this is really their fault. Okay, I'm just saying it's not my fault. I started looking through, perusing, trying to see what was out here. I wasn't trying to do the small stuff. I know if you did it and you got up to a higher amount, let me know, but I did it before they removed it, and the highest I could get was the 50,000. It was like basically medium ship. It wasn't even worth it unless you scrape. We made it back to what we started with, which was the hammerhead. That's what we started with. So I'm actually heading out here. As you know, if it doesn't jump, try and drop the mission, pick it back up. Then I actually jumped to the nearest planet, which was yellow. I'm gonna make a change when you do get out to the ship. Make sure you sit in pilot seat, thanks to they left a comment, and then I went and tested it out. So, oh, that worked. So basically get in the pilot seat. Now the thing is, it's one time. So you get in the pilot seat, once you activate that tractor beam, that's gonna keep you from getting the crime stat. But if you get back in that seat at any point in time, it can activate, even if you've turned it off completely. So I'm gonna show you again when it's completely off. Currently, you can see it says illegal tow disconnect, but then it shows my first initial, and then it just goes away, and I'm basically able to tow it. You can tow it. So if you're in a SRV, that's all you have. Make sure you get in the seat of the ship, and then tow it. Make sure you pick it up a yellow. It seems like every time I don't pick it up a yellow, I pick it up early, I run into some kind of problem. So here I got back in the seat after I towed it, turned it off. It said it was legal tow, so, you know, went in to make sure it was off, and you can see the display. So on this one saying, hey, you still have it on. I hope they have it set up one day where they just make the beam drop back down. It just stays in a down state until you activate it, instead of it popping up as soon as you take off flying. I think that's part of the problem. So I sat back down to turn the power off, and pay attention once again. And yes, I did get 2. Okay, I got 2. Just let you know, you can't get multiple crime stats if you use that tractor beam. And even you're not even on this mission, I'm gonna show you something I found. You know, just want you guys to be aware. You need to always be aware. Now here I turned off everything except for the power, and you'll see where that's a mistake later on. But basically, if you're gonna scrape, like I'm scraping my own ship because I'm like, well, it's sitting here, I'll just get what I can off of it. So I went ahead and decided to scrape the SRV because it was gonna be out here, and I'm go ahead and get the hammerhead. Why leave this out here by itself? Go ahead, scrape that up, somebody else will get it. But I did not turn the power off. Okay, so make sure when you're doing this, you can scrape the ship if the shields are off, but you can only crush it if the shields and the power turned off. So you see it's gonna have like a red, kind of a burgundy color around it. If you see that, then that means the power's back on. But at this point, I already got 2 crime stats. If I sit in that seat, it might not even be worth it. If you've got to turn it off, it might not be worth it. Now if you're doing a hammerhead and say it had power, a big ship like that, it might be worth it, right? So you have to weigh it in the balance. We were using the actual mission, but also you can do a backspace, and if you don't notice, you're new to the game, you backspace, your character's gonna die, and then you basically gonna teleport to wherever you last bind it. So make sure you know where you bind it at, know where your ship that you need to pick up, whether it's the Vulture or it's the Reclaimer, and then you're good to go. If you do the mission and you go pick up the package, if the server has that server error, it will drop the mission, so you may lose that location. But if you know the OEM market, if it's close enough, you can use that, and you can see ships from quite a ways away. Also, your body, I had the server do the server error, it did it like 2 or 3 times, and I still was able to come back to my body. Like the marker literally popped up after it came back up, and the hammerhead was still there. So just something to think about, you know, if you want to do the mission, or you just like the body, or you just like, you know what, I'm just gonna scrape it, or I'll just take the crime stat, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? If you take the crime stat, you're still gonna have to teleport, right? Regardless, either you're gonna take the crime stat and fly away, you're gonna take the crime stat, and then you're gonna go ahead and backspace. So here I'm just going back because I was looking, and it said, hey, your body's here, and then I saw the hammerhead. Like, oh great. So the server just did the whole server error, and I was basically going back, and then I found myself as well the hammerhead. Also, if you backspace, I do it in your ship, the SRV, I wouldn't do it in the hammerhead. I did in the hammerhead, and I lost my gear. So if you're gonna come back, make sure you put your gear on. Don't come back expecting that you're just gonna get your gear you got already out here. Just plan just in case it's not there. It could be there, but just plan like it's not there. Now this is what I was trying to figure out, because I'm like, how did I end up in prison, right? So this is what I did, but like I said, I picked up the mission before I got to yellow. So you saw I actually left Grim Hex, and here I'm actually entering the location where the hammerhead head's at, get myself set up, and you know, line it up, make sure we can pull this puppy out. And then I saw these trails, like, okay, I know this not another player. It's security. I'm trying to figure out, like, what are they gonna do? I'm good. I'll just go ahead and pull this puppy out of here. If they shoot me, they shoot me. But if I get it out of here and I still got the mission, I'm good to go. Because I got jumped once when I did this on the test server. I left before I could actually hook it up. Came back, I still was able to get the ship because they had kind of left. Screen went black. I'm trying to figure out what happened. Now, you might have caught it while you was watching it because it's a replay basically for you. But also, when I came back, I didn't have to stay long because they can't keep you if you got a crime stat lower than 3. So if you got a 1 or 2, you shouldn't even go to prison. But in this case, I did. But I slowed it down. They told me to halt. Now, here's the thing. It may matter, it may not, because you're in a trespassing zone anyway. So they might still arrest you. I don't know. So if it happened to you, let me know in the comments, like, what happened, what was the outcome. But I don't know. Like, because I've done that before. It was on something else I wasn't doing salvaging. I still got arrested. So just know you might still get arrested. Also, I showed this because I had a backpack on and a gun, 2 guns, and it was like it wasn't there. But then when I put my stuff in the actual container, all the stuff showed up in there. So just know, even though, you know, the old way would be where you would actually click it and you could click it, but it wasn't really showing. But here it didn't even show. You click, it's like nothing's there. When I pulled my gear and put it in its box, it showed up. So here we are. I'm actually doing it again because I'm like, I didn't know what had happened at the time. So I'm like, I'm just gonna run that mission again. But hey, this is what I found. Okay, if you're new to the game, you see a ship floating like this, most likely it is abandoned, and this is probably a gold mine. Now, they did add trespassing, so just know if that person's coming back, they could shoot you. Now, I haven't tried it, but maybe they can shoot you as soon as they walk in the ship. I don't know. So just be aware. So I'm trying to move kind of quick. I'm just being honest. I'm trying to move quick because I'm like, hey, it's an abandoned ship. I know it's abandoned, but that doesn't mean the person cannot come back, right? They could come back. So I go ahead and get my part and throw it in here. I'm leaving the ramp down. I'm kind of at an odd location. So sometimes when you're at an odd location, you have to fool with too many people. The other part is AI showed up. So I'm thinking that might be why the CARRACK went down. I'm not sure. Because it uses more than one of those ships, and there's probably an investigation mission somewhere close by. I couldn't get in the seat here because I was going to use my 4 gun salute and take him out, but had to put it up. We'll deal with it later. Tried to open the hangar for the Pisces, couldn't get it open. Only thing I could open was actually the ramp in the front. Everything else was not open. So basically, this guy's hovering around. He doesn't have a friend with him. So I'm like, you know what? When he flies in front of me again, I'm gonna just try and take this thing up in the air. Because I did fly it like a few feet over and brought it back. Like you saw where it was at first. So I moved it over here. So I'm like, let me see if I can get this thing off the ground. If I can, like, let's go. I'm gonna go ahead without getting shot. Like, I knew it'd get off the ground. I just didn't want to get blown up by the cutty. I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna try and take it out to Crusader because that's where my reclaimer's at. Put it on CELLIN, and I'm just letting you know, CELLIN's not, like, it's not completely free of people doing crazy stuff, but I've had a lot of freedom salvage stuff. Like, I found 8-9. I found a lot of stuff over here, especially at this base. I think it's Terran Mill, something like that. Hydrogen something. That's the most expensive bouncy house you'll see in your life. Anyway, so I'm getting here because I need to get me a vehicle because I can't get the hangar open. I tried to put the X85 in the hangar below. It wouldn't fit. So I got this puppy. I do like this. If it is damaged, you could still blow up, but if it's not damaged, it gets pretty high when you run across the terrain and it feels like it's gonna mess up. But I made it back, and I did like 13 kilometers away, if that's the right way to say it. Now here I am basically moving this out about 13 kilometers like I said, and then I'm gonna take the X1. I love this thing. It's like a dragon on the smoke, and just big ships landing, there's a lot of dust. It's just kind of cool. But anyway, we're gonna take the X1 out, and like I said, it got back pretty quick too. It was probably faster than the ground vehicle because once you jump, it's up there. It's like you just floating for a while, and then when you come down, you're like, ooh, this is a good angle. But it was okay, right? It was okay. But like I said, I did blow it up once, but hey, it was damaged when I looked at the tape again. Now I'm taking the 85X. I'm taking that over to where my reclaimer's at. I do suggest if you're a single player, always have at least 2 ships, and the second ship should be spawnable from a mining outpost. At least one. It's gonna save you a lot of hassle. Trust me. I started out with the Cuddy Black. That was the only ship, and man, I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, another thing, if you got a reclaimer, first time picking one up, when you land, make sure if you go out this ladder here, make sure before you do this to use your camera to see how close it is to the ground. And if you get down here and you look, use your camera here too, and make sure you can get off and get back in, because if you like 2-3 feet off the ground, you can't really tell all the time, and you can't get back up there. Okay, so make sure when you land, especially like out in open, like where I'm at, if you had a hangar, it's okay. A mining land outpost could be the same way. So just always check that before you get out, unless you're in a hangar like at a major base, okay? Orison, Oryville, Area 18. But if you out here in the field and you're trying to land, be careful. Now here I'm actually turning off the main components. I don't know what the default component names are, so I wanted to turn off the shields and the power, and I just do it this way. So you can do how you want. Just make sure you turn the shields and power off. Like I said, you can go ahead and scrape this puppy down. I think before even the claw was available and you could actually scrape, I scraped one of these and did pretty good. Now here's the thing, I recommend put the braid and the clinch on the right side, and on the left side I'm going to reverse the trawler, put that on top, and put the ready grip tractor beam below to try and cut down on having that issue, because as you can see, this is just a random pickup and I got a crime stat. And then also there's still got to work on the discrepancy of how many, in a sense, box you should be getting. It used to be like 0.0000 and you saw the bar moving a lot, but here it's not. So it seems like it's a big discrepancy. I think they can just let you get more box stuff out of this faster, right? It'd be the same amount because you're technically getting more because it's double what it used to be, but just let it scrape fast because we're not gonna find these big ships all over the place. Now if you're keeping your eye open, you can do pretty good. Okay, keep your eye open, and I'm gonna show you later on. Keep your eye open, you find some ships like this just floating in space, and it'd be even easier to scrape. Just don't use that tractor beam unless you get into the pilot seat. So I've been flipping ships when I was scraping them even before a claw came out, and I'm just basically using the reclaimer. If you had a mole, you know a mole could run into like giant rock. Reclaimer is no kid to this space either. As long as the ship's not too big, CARRACK, you can actually do it. Use this better if you scrape it first like what I've done, and then use your front feet. Those are your big, oh my goodness, you know how big those feet are. Use those, and usually if you slam like the very front of the CARRACK, you can flip it over. Just make sure you move your reclaimer out the way when you do it. You may not get it the first few times, and I'm also gonna do this in the daylight so you can see, because right now you probably like, okay, I kind of see what you're talking about, Ghost, but I don't really know what you're doing. I can tell you hitting the ship, but I wanted to let you know I flipped this over, and that's why you're gonna see me scraping it some more. We're gonna go to where I actually did this in the daytime. It's been a minute, but this is where I found one at a base as well, and I started scraping. That was before the actual claw was out. So you basically just using the weight of the ship, making sure you got your shields up, make sure you got your self view of your ship in case you do any damage. You can see a little damage to your legs every once in a while, not often, but you can do that. So just make sure you keep an eye on that. Make sure you keep your shields at full power, and then just basically you want to catch the tip of whatever you're trying to hit. You could try to do the side, like I tried to do the wing part, so to speak, but that didn't work. So I realized trying to hit the front of it seemed to be better, and then just trying to move the ship back as quickly as possible. Sometimes you may bump it, just if you see maybe I can nudge it to get it to fall the way I want, but it's not always the case. Also, when I was about to scrape, I did realize that I couldn't get the scraper to come on while it was sitting on the ground, so I just lifted off the ground. I didn't lose any fuel. Person, you got to be mindful, maybe microtech, the wind may blow, but I think you should be pretty stable. So here we're gonna actually go ahead and basically gobble it up now, right? It's time to go ahead and gobble it up. So it basically broke it, and I'm just snatching it up, and it's sitting on the planet. So you have no problem doing this on the planet or in space, which is pretty cool. Okay, and it gobbled up even those containers. You know, I think they're gonna rework this thing anyway, but yeah, it gobbled those containers, never get inside them. So we got a full load. I think I got like 65 boxes or something like that. I don't know. It showed real quick. I didn't catch it, but you can rewind it. Let's just say it was a good load. I threw these up in the Rapture, so to speak. I just want to make sure you can pick it up. I didn't really care. I don't care to go down. I think I said it before. I don't like going downstairs. I just want to put everything in here and keep it moving. Also, when you're moving boxes in the reclaimer, I don't know if this is the same in the Vulture. Please do not have that ship moving. Do not jump. In Quantum, do not just be stationary, because if a box pops out, in this case, I didn't even see it pop out. It used to be where you go to move it and your beam would change a kind of odd color and it disappear. You're like, oh man, then you go outside, the ship is just sitting out there. It didn't do that this time. I didn't know it was out there until I went to take off and looked. Okay, so just remember that. Do not move while you doing boxes. All right, so now I'm going to tell you something about when you're jumping. When you're doing salvaging, you go from salvaging to cargo running, okay, because you got to get to the location to sell your stuff. So you have cargo, so don't get it mixed up. You are doing cargo at some point. Do not go to your direct destination. Okay, so here I'm actually tagging Hurston. I'm going to fly to Hurston first, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to tag Arc L2, which is behind Area 18, which is where I really want to go, and I'm going to use that line to trace between where the rings are of Arc Corp so that I can drop off in the rings and try to avoid if somebody's trying to do quantum stand. Now there may not be anybody doing a lot of crazy stuff, because I heard people saying ain't no pirates. Well, I don't know, but people do crazy stuff anyway, right? You don't know. And then sometimes it's just AI security setting up, right? But if you do it this way, you can do this to any planet. You just basically going to use any of the, because each planet has 2 of the space station setups around it. So you basically want to go to the second one, but but you can pick anywhere. You don't have to do Hurston. You just want to use any planet that allows you to fly across or vertically to ArcCorp, and then you want to point to RKL2, and then once you tag it as you're going across, you'll see you got a line now. So basically I started going to Hurston, I went ahead and tagged RKL2, and now it's triggered me a line. Now although I haven't turned my ship, it's still tracking me with that line, okay? And so all you're trying to do is get it into the rings. Usually I just try and get as close to ArcCorp as possible, or whatever planet I'm doing. You can do it to any planet. I'm just telling you, you can do it to Microtech, you can do it to Hurston, you can do it to Crusader, okay? So it's a cool little technique, and it's kind of fail safe. If you overshoot, there's a way to fix it. So I just stopped, and now I'm gonna go ahead and target RKL2, like turn my ship to it now because it's already locked in. I just stopped my quantum. When I turn back, it's gonna line up, then I can jump again, okay? If you do it a couple times, it'll make sense, but it's just mainly to keep from getting caught by somebody trying to quantum snare you, because you could jump directly to like the different planets or the different little space stations to do it. But I realized when I was doing gold, because I used to do a couple of gold runs, it was beautiful. I drop it off so close to the planet, I could like put my hand out the window and touch the planet like, woo! But this time it's not gonna go that well. Also, the fuel didn't show right. It showed like I was okay going to RKL2. I don't know, so I decided to switch to RKL1 just in case it was right. So I think it was right, I'm not sure. So I went ahead and stopped at RKL1, but I still could retarget RKL2 and jump again. So it's not a big deal. Just make sure you're not going directly to that planet. Some people say, hey, you could go slightly to Hurston and then point to ArcCorp and go, or wherever you want to go. Just don't go directly there. I like this method. It'll drop you off, like literally, if you turn it off at the right time, you'll be sitting right next to the planet you want to go to. On the test server, somebody did quantum me at like a OEM. I didn't think you could do that, so let me know in the comments. So it's kind of iffy. They can do you at the quantum or the OEM point. It may not matter as much, but it won't be easy for somebody trying to set up a good snare where they can catch you away from the planet and you can't get away from them. Okay, so here we are coming in. This time I reset it, I filled up. Now I'm coming in and I'm using, like I said, RKL2, and I'm coming across. Now here's the thing, your screen does this kind of zoom thing when you first pop out of the map, and I did it here, but I tried to fix it and I ended up going back into the map twice and I overshot my spot. So make sure you kind of practice coming out of your map all the way real quick, and once you do that, you can just drop and you'll drop out of orbit right there next to the planet. So we're gonna do it again. The cool thing about this is all you do is just target RKL1 or the opposite one, you come back across and now you drop out again, and here we are. You can see the outline of the planet right there. That's ArcCorp. Now you can also select ArcCorp as you're coming in and you'll see it, and if it starts to move, you can drop out of orbit too, because you're probably inside the rings when it starts to move. You're about to bypass it. You can do that as well. But since this is a new map, trying to figure it out, not a new map, but the new map system, I'm kind of figuring out how to, read it real quick. So here I am going to OEM1. I usually like OEM6. I think that's the one that drops you right out over like space station, so to speak. So I like using that for the most part. But like I say, people, maybe they can do you at an OEM point. If they can, it kind of sucks. But I hadn't had anybody do it until like I was on the test server this past time. And here we are just pulling her in. I wish they would bring the clouds up about 5,000, because you should be able to see everything did. When they did the update to Hurston, it was kind of a drag because it's like you did this cool update, but we can't see it. And it's kind of itchy. Now here there is like these green light, but they're kind of hard to see. But if you look for there's like a green light that goes like lights all the way going down to through the clouds. That can kind of help you find this here now on Area 18, but it wasn't there before. All right, so now we're gonna go see what we made, and I'm like, let's go. Let's go. First day on the server, baby. I'm good. I mean, if you get 1 million on the first day, you good, really. I mean, now if you're trying to buy ships, you might be a little, but if you just need some money on you and you want to be like, okay, I'm good, I can make repairs, I can buy, you are good. Okay, so I'm just saying, you good. And this is just what we got from crushing it. Okay, so we were good. I'm like, woo. Now I did do the constellation. I could barely get 10 boxes out of this thing, and I also had to braid in the clinch. So you'll see the total amount. It actually came out to be okay, but the point is, it's up to you if you think it's worth it. But for me, it's like, if I just need a little bit, but to go through what I had to do, I did the same thing I did with the hammerhead with this. I got in the seat and all that stuff, and this is all I could get it. Now for some reason it gave me a little bit more, but there was an issue where the server did something weird, and I found something, but I couldn't keep it because the server was fighting. I ain't gonna lie, server was like a boom boom, it couldn't hold on. I'll talk about that later, but anyway, that's why I think it went to 30 instead of the 24. So it's fine with me. That's just extra money because I already made my money. I got the big dog. That's all. I got the big dog. Okay. That's all I needed. Keep an eye out when you out here scraping, because you might see something away from where you're at, and I'm gonna show you what I saw, and I'm like, man, that would have been another one, but unfortunately some things happen. Okay, now I can go clear my crime stat confidently, right? Now I could have did it with the constellation, that wasn't a big deal, but it was easier to do it with that. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter really. So If you out here scraping and you see a bright light and you know it ain't the sun, go ahead and make sure you look at it. As you get close, you may not even have to get that close. You'll see that it's a ship, okay? It doesn't have a name. So if it doesn't have a name, it's an abandoned ship. If you want to investigate, of course, you know, you might have to deal with the whole, you know, trespassing, but this is what I found, okay? So I'm just saying, I'll go into that later, but just keep an eye out when you salvaging. I'm just saying. And when you just doing regular missions, keep an eye out. You never know what you might see that you can come back and make some money off of. And I did that a lot. I find ships and bases. I'm like, okay, and we got a way to tow them up out of here. Let's go.
Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you enjoyed this video, and as always, choose life over death.